they always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Another weekend, another recap show, another NFL preview show. So, what is good, everybody? Everyone on the Real Sports Talk. What's good on the internet? What is good in life? My name is Akeem Balaam. Welcome you once again to yet another, I guess you can say, football-filled edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock. So let's get right into it. So, of course, you had Thursday Night Football, which is how I've been starting a lot of these, and you had the St. Louis Rams defeat the Arizona Cardinals by a final score of 17-3, which is actually a little bit surprising, because, at least to me, because I picked the Arizona Cardinals. I thought that they would go 5-0, but you know, it turns out that, of course, St. Louis won, and really St. Louis's offense wasn't the one that really showed up. It was the defense, really, for both teams, and particularly for the St. Louis Rams. What about Cortland Finnegan, and what about the other people on the St. Louis Rams defense, especially their defensive line? Getting to Kevin Kolb a grand total of 9, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times they pressured Kevin Kolb all game. He was never comfortable. He didn't have one single touchdown in that game, even though he did throw for over 200 yards. But the thing is that he never got comfortable. There was pretty much no pocket. He had no pocket to work with because he was being bum rushed all the time by the St. Louis Rams defensive line, and they just owned him all night freaking long throughout that game. 9 sacks as St. Louis rides out that to all that to a 17-3 win over the Arizona Cardinals. And really, now that Arizona is 4-1 and St. Louis is 3-2. You got to look at this NFC West. I mean, this NFC West is really starting to become an extremely interesting division to watch, because normally the NFC West is usually looked at as an afterthought. Most, if not everybody, outside of the cities of Seattle, St. Louis, and Phoenix, or dare I say the state of Arizona, everybody outside of those 3 areas of the country was probably thinking, okay, this is going to be just like last year. This is going to be another cakewalk for the San Francisco 49ers to an NFC West divisional championship. Well, now, at least if we're able to take these first 5 weeks into consideration, it's not looking all that much like that, dare I say. And really, it's not looking all that much like that because of the defenses. The defenses between Seattle Seahawks, St. Louis Rams, Arizona Cardinals, and the San Francisco 49ers are pretty damn good. And if I'm not mistaken, those weren't even the 2 best defenses in the NFC West. Seattle is better. San Francisco is statistically better. In fact, Seattle and San Francisco actually are in the top 5 defenses in the entire NFL. So when you look at this from a perspective of where the NFC West normally is and where they are right now, these defenses in the NFC West, you don't want to mess with them. They are absolutely ferocious, and if they're able to continue their stellar play that they've had so far, it is very, very possible. It is definitely a possibility, especially with the NFC South looking, a lot weaker. It is very likely that between the NFC East, the NFC North, and the NFC West all of a sudden this year, that the NFC West has a huge chance to get 2 wildcard teams in the playoffs the way it's looking right now, because these defenses are just not defenses that you want to take lightly. They have 4 of the best defenses in the entire NFC, 4 of the best defenses, definitely 4 of the top 15 defenses in the entire NFL, and also with Seattle and San Francisco being right there in the top 5. So if you're going to go up against the NFC West defense, it's looking more and more and more like you're going to have to really game plan, because these NFC West defenses are taking no prisoners so far in 2012. So definitely look out for that in the future. NFC West, they look defensively, they look like the best division all of a sudden after being a laughingstock for so many years. So here I go with these Week 5 picks. Of course, already I'm 0-1 because I originally picked the Cardinals. to beat the Rams, so I'm already on 1. Which is the way it's been typically going for me so far with my picks. But so far, New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns, even though the Cleveland Browns have made improvements, Brandon Whedon is looking like a much better quarterback than he was in Week 1. I cannot pick the Cleveland Browns to beat the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. I like the Giants in that one. Bengals, Dolphins. If I'm not mistaken, the Bengals are actually 3-1. They're either 2-2 or 3-1. Despite losing that first game, they've made some strides in the past 3 games, and believe it or not, despite that division, and everybody thinking that the Bengals is an afterthought. They're looking pretty good so far in the season. So I like the Cincinnati Bengals to actually beat the Miami Dolphins. Packers and Colts, they got a huge win. Of course, the Green Bay did, rallying from what happened in Week 3 and that whole Monday night controversy. And now they're going into Lucas Oil Stadium against Andrew Luck and Indy. So I like the Green Bay Packers to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Redskins. Give me Atlanta and that. Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. No disrespect to the Chiefs, but I'm sorry, that's a virtual bye week. I mean, the Chiefs had their high against the lowly New Orleans Saints, but they got absolutely crushed by San Diego last week. So give me Baltimore all day in that. Eagles Steelers, as a matter of fact. Keystone State, Eastern Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. And the Eagles actually surprised me, of course, last week, because before that we were talking about all the interceptions and all the turnovers that they had. And, of course, the Steelers are coming off of a bye week. So looking at that game, it's sort of a toss-up, but I'm going to pick the Steelers at home over the Philadelphia Eagles. Seahawks and Panthers, again, when I was talking about NFC West defenses, I like Seattle to win that game. Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw what Chicago did to Dallas on Monday Night Football. Tony Romo absolutely looked horrible, but of course, Chicago now once again going on to another road game. This time in Jacksonville, but I do like the Bears to beat Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee Titans and the Minnesota Vikings. The surprising, believe it or not, Minnesota Vikings actually at 3-1, and doing it not necessarily with their quarterback Christian Ponder having pretty good games, but more or less behind the running game, especially being anchored by Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. So as far as that goes, I like Minnesota at home to beat the Tennessee Titans and to move on to 4-1. Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers. I like the Niners, of course, big at home to win that. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, of course. Broncos versus the New England Patriots. It's in Gillette, it's in Foxborough, and of course, everybody's talking about how these may still be the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, but they're old. But they're old, of course, and there's not going to be too many of these matchups left with Manning and Brady. So just about that, I'm actually going to pick the New England Patriots once again over the Denver Broncos, because we saw what happens when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I think that they're going to continue that against the Denver Broncos. As I think Gronkowski, Woodhead, I think they'll have pretty good games as well against Denver at home in Gillette and Foxborough. And the Chargers against the lowly Saints, they are 0-4 in New Orleans. San Diego is 3-1. Their only loss coming against the Atlanta Falcons. So I like the San Diego Chargers to go into the Superdome and send the New Orleans Saints, believe it or not, to 0-5. Once again, no confidence at all in New Orleans Saints defense. And as far as the Texans and Jets are concerned, I like the Texans, of course. They look like the best team either in the AFC or possibly the entire NFL, and they have the number 1 ranked defense. And the New York Jets are just a team in absolute turmoil. Nothing is going good. They're coming off of a 34-0 beatdown by the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, Darrelle Revis is out for the year. Now Santonio Holmes is out for the year. Now they got to play the Houston Texans, the undefeated Texans. That looks like a mismatch. It's a virtual bye week on Monday Night Football. Give me the Texans. So just to run down my picks, I like the Giants over the Browns, Bengals over the Dolphins, Packers over the Colts, Falcons over the Redskins, Ravens over the Chiefs, Steelers over the Eagles, Seahawks over the Panthers, Bears over the Jaguars, Vikings over the Titans, Niners over the Bills, Patriots over the Broncos, Chargers over the Saints, and the Texans over the Jets. My Week 5 picks as I close out this edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock. Those are my picks. What's yours? So until next time, I'm just one guy talking about sports. So until next time, I'm Akeem Balaam saying see you on the internet someplace of another edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock. Of course, next week, right here, same place, same time, Real Sports Talk.
Just a little blaze around the corner from fear.